I was very aware of certain aspects of the story that I wanted to tell. If I was fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to wrap up the franchise, I always knew that that wrap-up would be a return to Raccoon City, to the Hive, to where everything began. It would be Alice going home, and Alice discovering the truth about herself. The woman we met in the first movie suffered from memory loss, and she never got that memory back. So really, she is unaware of who she really is. And I've been aware of who she is throughout the entire franchise, and I've been waiting a long time to wrap things up and tell the audience the truth of who the Alice character is, how that relates to the Red Queen, and what the real agenda of the Umbrella Corporation has been all along. And I think when people discover the answers to those questions, I think they're going to be shocked. I think they're going to be really surprised. And I think they're going to want to rewatch the entire franchise, because what they'll realize is we've known what those answers are throughout, and I think you can watch the franchise all over again and see it in a completely different way when you discover the truth. It's obviously a very bittersweet experience to kind of say goodbye to something that's been such a big part of my life for such a long time. But it's also very exciting to bring everything to a climax and do it in a way and on a scale that I've been allowed to do. This is not a franchise that's ending with a whimper. It's ending with a big, big bang. I think there's imagery in this film that's way beyond anything I've ever put on screen before. It's truly epic visually, but also it's very, very emotional. It's the end of Alice. Milla knows it's all coming to an end, and she really delivered in terms of her performance. There is a giant mutated flying creature that we glimpsed at the end of the last movie that we really deliver in this film. It's one of the high points of the movie is Milla driving and being chased. It's like her versus a flying creature. It's really terrific, terrific scene. Very energized, very, very scary. And the whole movie, I don't want to give everything away, but the whole movie is peppered with creatures from the franchise. And right from the start of the franchise to the end of the video game franchise, I've taken creatures from pretty much every single one of the video games. I think this is kind of like a creature all-star movie. It's like whatever your favorite creature is, I think the chances are it's in this movie and it's popping out of somewhere unexpected to terrify you. You have returning characters, and Claire Redfield, as played by Ali, is one of the key returning characters in the franchise. And, I think I've always seen Resident Evil as being about two strong women. Right from the very start, Milla was obviously at the heart of the franchise, but there was also Michelle Rodriguez. And I've always liked the camaraderie between two women. I think it plays really well. It's something you don't see in movies very often. Sometimes you see the one strong female, but you rarely see two. And I love Ali because she's different to Milla. She brings something completely different. She's strong, but in a different way to Milla. And Milla has an edge that I think comes from her Russian background, whereas Ali is more all-American. And obviously both of these women, they're in the apocalypse, they're at the end of the world, they're both hardened, but they come from different backgrounds, and I think that's very interesting when you see them interact. Well, I've always seen myself as an international filmmaker. I mean, I've never been an American filmmaker. I certainly don't see myself as a British filmmaker. I've made movies that have been financed and play around the world. I've seen myself as a global filmmaker, I think, right from the very start. My very first movie with Jude Law, Shopping, it was set in the UK, but it was partly financed by a Japanese company. So I've always been very aware of my movies being watched by an international audience. And also we're dealing with the end of the world, and it's the whole world that's ending. It's not just North America. And I always feel like that should be represented, and that's why I like drawing actors from different parts of the world. I think it really delivers on several levels. One is just the sheer spectacle of it. I'm very confident that the action and the scale and the imagery that we've put on screen here, it's the biggest in the franchise. And not just the biggest in this franchise, it's the biggest in any movie I've ever made. I'm super happy with it. But I think we combine that scale with a level of emotion and sophistication that we've never had in the franchise before.